Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Talks with the Tax Cop. I'm your host, Patrice L. Berry, EA. EA stands for Enrolled Agent. And so I just wanted to spend some time with you all and let you know what's going on. For those of you who do not know me, those who are getting to know me, hey, I'm the Tax Cop. Messing around with some stuff. Let's get back to talking about today's topic. First, before we get into today's topic, hot and heavy, let me break some things down for you all and tell you how life been treating your girl. Okay? That's even a little messy background. I'm working on that. Okay? But for the most part, last week, the reason why y'all didn't get a podcast is because I thought it was that. The norovirus made an appearance in my house and tried to take me and 5 of the 6 of us out. I was doing good, y'all, until about 3 o'clock last Monday. And then again at 5 o'clock, where I had to call it a wrap and just had to give up everything I had in my soul. Everything. But today's a good day and everybody is well. Things have been disinfected. We're doing good. Everybody can keep down everything. And so we're making progress. So that's why you didn't get a podcast from me last week. But this week we back and popping, and we're going to share some things with you all. Last week I ended up having, after I started feeling better, I ended up having some shall we say, interesting conversation. So that pause is because I had to figure out the best way to say it, right? I had some interesting conversations, looking at my head wrap here, with clients. And it was a theme last week. It was a lot of themes, a lot of questions, a lot of things that people have that they're curious about. But the biggest theme as we were ending January good and coming into February was the thing about 1099s. Who gets a 1099? Who doesn't get a 1099? So we're going to spend a little bit time on that. I'm going to do some other conversations real quick, going through and showing you all, anybody who's watching the YouTube video, what a Schedule C looks like for my business clients that are like, wait a minute, how do I report? And I have a business and how that looks. And then we're going to have a discussion about accountants versus bookkeepers versus tax preparers, because that conversation came up as well. So let's jump into it. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm going to share my screen with you all. So I want to give y'all a rule of thumb. The best thing to do, honest to goodness, the best thing to do if you are out here in these streets, living life the way you live in it, okay? I want you to be aware that if you have a business and you are working with someone who is an independent contractor, before we get into the thick of things, right? And y'all worry about non-disclosure. I'm not an attorney. Non-disclosure and all these contractual agreements. I want you to be aware that you should give a person, the company you're working with, whomever, a W-9 first. You want to be working with reputable companies. So you want to make sure that they have general liability insurance. So if anything go down in the agreement and insurance has to be involved, you know that they have it. As well as you want to have them fill out a W-9, right? So you know who you're sending a 1099 to the following January, okay? Anybody who's using QuickBooks, those W-9 requests actually happen electronically. Any other software that y'all are using out, ADP and other payroll companies, they will help you with this. But in your contractual agreement, I want to encourage you all to request that whomever you're working with signs your contract, your subcontract agreement that lays out the terms, also completes a W-9 and provides you with proof of insurance. And that way you have that in your file so that you are not worried about down the road when it's time to actually prepare 1099s. Do I have their address? Do I have their social security number? Do I have the company of their EIN, right? The EIN number, right? So that just keeps you clean. And the beauty behind this, anybody who's looking at the screen can see the beauty behind this is certain entities don't even need 1099 NECs the following year. So we got our corporations. So this is why in that W-9, you can find out how their entity is actually set up. And if you're an LLC, you notice it says enter the tax classification. You have an LLC that could be a partnership, an S corporation, or a C corporation. The C corporation, the S corporation, you're not going to have to send them a 1099 NEC. And in some cases, depending on how you're interacting with people, if you're using credit card transactions to pay them and they're using a merchant fee, that 1099K is going to capture the income that they're receiving. So you don't have to worry and stress yourself out come January 31st to be like, how the heck do I fill out this? How do I fill this out? Where do I go? What do I do? Somebody help me, please. Please. And you're not at the 11th hour trying to figure that out. So that is something that we're here in February. We're still very early in the year that I want you to, if you are in a contractual agreement with anyone, that you go ahead and you look at your subcontract agreement, you send them people a W-9 now. Now, because if you pay them more than $600, you're going to have to file a 1099 NEC by January 31st of the following year. And you want to do that and be compliance. Okay. So questions will come up now. Hey, Patrice, okay, I got the W-9. You show me where I can get the W-9. Use Mrs. Google. Dr. Google, Mr. YouTube, use them. They your friend. Okay. There's a W-9 on the IRS website. That's where I pulled this from, y'all. IRS website, FW9 PDF. Okay. Then you can go get a subcontract agreement. I have no agreement with eForms, but if you don't have a lawyer or attorney that you're working with, you can go to eForms. Y'all looking at this, those are on the screen. It says subcontractor agreement template. It even asks you to state, and it gives you some templates by different industries, y'all. Come on, technology, right? You cleaning, construction, concrete, janitorial, IT, electrical, drywall, HIPAA, residential, painting, professional services. Like, come on, y'all. Use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage, right? Got business, personal, real estate up against the top. I'm not in agreement with eForms. eForms, if y'all, anybody at eForms? Sponsored? Ain't that big? It's cool. So know that I want y'all to use technology to your friend, right? So you may need to get this down. And if you got an attorney or something like that, you may want them to look at it after you prep it, but get your agreement to the terms is what y'all need to do. But this is the beauty behind it. Look at what eForm says. A subcontractor agreement is used by a contractor when hiring a subcontractor to assist in the completion of a project or service. The independent contractor will usually hold a contract for services with a client, most commonly in construction, and will choose to hire a subcontractor to finish a part or all of the services. The agreement should outline all duties, liabilities, and responsibilities of the subcontractor, along with any other conditions. But below this, in this blue box, I ain't prepped this way. It says IRS Form W-9 is required to be completed by subcontractors to prove that the individual or entity is allowed to work by presenting their name and social security number or EIN. Look, I want you all to be official. I want you to be in compliance. Y'all, the tax cop don't play when it comes to these rules. Make sure that you have all this stuff together so you're not stressing, because I know if you work with me and my firm, this is one of the questions that we're going to ask you and ask you to provide us proof that you actually did this, submitted your 1099s and all the documentation you were supposed to when you fill out an organizer for us. Okay. So I want you to be in compliance. The reason why this is significant is because if the IRS ever comes to look and says, hey, you said this person was a 1099 NEC and they were not, and we are doing an independent contractor versus employee test, the IRS could say, you know what, you out in these streets telling lies. just to avoid payroll taxes. That person actually was your employee. You made them do this just to avoid payroll taxes. We're not trying to avoid taxes in these streets. It's fines and jail time for that. Okay? And I know over at the TaxCop, we don't charge go to jail prices. So therefore, I don't want y'all to ever be in any situation like that, because y'all ain't charging go to jail prices or get out of jail free prices. Okay? So we got to do better. And then the last thing we're going to talk about when it comes to sharing forms with you all today is a 1099, on a Schedule C, right? So this is important for my small business owners who are LLCs, who are sole proprietors. You haven't elected to be taxed as a S corporation or a C corporation. You're just starting out. You're trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. You're like reaching out to a tax pro and you're like, hey, I got a business and I want to know if you file business returns. Yes. First and foremost, this Schedule C, I want to point out to you all that it is part of your personal return. It's part of your 1040. So it's not a separate and distinct return like a partnership return, which is a 1065, or an S corporation return, which is an 1120S, or a C corporation return, which is an 1120. Those are separate tax returns that have to be prepared by certain deadlines and dates. The S corporation and the partnership return have to be filed by March 15th, or extension has to be filed by March 15th, because we need information, a K1, from those returns to be able to prepare your 1040. Okay, so I need you to understand that this Schedule C is significant because it is what most small business owners, when they are first starting out and they are just elected to be an LLC, it's what you're going to be filling out. So I want you to be familiar with what it looks like. You're going to put the name of your business, if your business has a name, your social security number, if your company don't have an EIN, right? You're going to talk about the activity of business you're in, your accounting method, etc. Did you materially participate in a business? Y'all see right here, did you make any payments that would require you to file a Form 1099? I ain't asking it. The IRS asking it. So y'all need to say yes or no. And if yes, did you or will you file the required 1099s? And this could be a 1099 miscellaneous, a 1099 NEC. 1099s are information returns. It's your way of saying, hey, I paid someone, right? 1099Ks, that's what the merchant companies give us when we do our credit cards. It's an information return saying this person received some income from me. They need to tell on themselves. Remember, taxes is a voluntary system, and the IRS and the states are expecting you to tell the truth. But these information returns say, if you're not telling the truth, we already know. Okay, so that's why they want you to file them. What will happen is you'll take all your revenue that you receive, your gross receipts or sales. A lot of times that'll come on a 1099K if you're using credit card transactions, or what'll happen when we get Venmo and Cash App and everybody to send us those statements starting next year, right? That gross profit, cost of goods sold. If you are actually in an inventory-based type business or e-commerce type business where you're selling physical products or digital products in some cases, right? Then we have all our expenses. So that's what I want y'all to understand. Everybody is talking about write-offs. In reality, that's a marketing term for me, okay? In reality, in accounting, it's called income minus expenses. Determines whether or not your business has a net profit or loss. Those are accounting terms, right? So when everybody's like, can I deduct this? And what about this? And can I write this off? Really? Y'all understand it's money that came into the business minus any expenses you paid determines whether or not the business is profitable or not. And if you're paying taxes on it. You only paying profit on taxes. If there's no profit, you have a loss, we paying nothing from nothing, leave nothing. All right. Okay, that's what we got. So I want you to be familiar with this form because everybody's also looking for a checklist. And this is where us tax preparers are getting our checklist from, really from the source documents. Things that you can deduct that are normal business expenses, they're listed here. Okay. Then we have a whole category called other expenses. That means stuff that might be ordinary and necessary specifically to your business based on your industry or how you're operating, making sure that you can justify that. Because if they come auditing, you better be prepared to cough up the cookies. Okay? All right. And then everybody's infamous home office deduction. That does happen on Form 8829. However, this is where we take that information and bring it forward. You can either do the simplified method, which is just a calculation, caps out at 300 square feet. It's at $5 times 300 square feet. And then, or you can go into the detailed 8829 that allows us to take the mortgage interest and the utilities and factor all that in with actuals. So one is simplified, is more like estimates, like high value, high level, not high value, high level. And the 8829 gets into actuals. Okay. All right. Same thing happens when it comes to vehicle expenses, etc. Are we taking mileage? Or are we taking actuals? Right. So that's what I wanted to share with you all this week. Hopefully you can see these forms and feel comfortable with, hey, now I know to go look and go to the IRS website and pull down a Schedule C so I can get myself familiar. W-9 and e-forms is a resource for subcontractor agreements, right? So for the last couple of minutes of the podcast, y'all, I want to have a discussion, just a quick discussion with you all to let you know. The reason why I'm breaking this down in this manner is because I get a lot of questions a lot of times where people say, well, I was working with a bookkeeper, I am a bookkeeper, and what's the difference between what you do and why do you charge this much, and etc. And I want to let you know that it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you know this, everybody is not created equal. We all have our different level of experiences. We all have our different opportunities of dealing with things. We're at different levels, and there's nothing wrong with being at different levels, and we are able to charge at these various levels because, hey, we are in a consumer, right, economy that allows us to do that, which is the beautiful thing about America. However, I want you to be informed consumers. I tell my clients this all the time. I threw the stuff on my phone and fell on the floor. Y'all, excuse me. I want you to be informed consumers. And the reason why I want you to be informed consumers is because everyone who is a bookkeeper may not know accounting. They may understand bookkeeping principles, but not truly understand accounting principles. And you're like, what? Should they? They don't have to. They may have gotten themselves proficient when it came to bookkeeping, but not know the accounting principles that lead us to understanding what is on a financial statement, why stuff is on a financial statement, etc. And then every accountant does not necessarily know everything about tax, because yes, they may have had to take tax to graduate and get their accounting degree, but that don't mean they got proficient in it. They may be really, really strong and proficient in accounting, but they may not have anything, or be like, you know what, I took tax to get through the course and just be done, and I don't have any desire whatsoever to deal with things when it comes to tax, right? Everybody who prepares taxes does not necessarily understand bookkeeping and accounting. Y'all are like, what'd she do? She gave me a switcheroo, right? So really be prepared and interview whom you're working with, because there's nothing wrong with a person knowing how to prepare taxes and not understand accounting. There's nothing wrong with anybody only knowing how to do bookkeeping and not necessarily understand the accounting pieces if they are working with people who do. All right, so you have some people who have a bookkeeper internally, or have somebody they assigned and took to bookkeeping classes, but they work with their external CPA or EA or tax preparer to help prepare the tax returns. Or when they're trying to make sure the financials are good so that they can submit for a loan, they may be working with a CPA or an accountant, right? And the difference between an accountant and a CPA is that one of them has passed the test and got a certification and the other one has not. That doesn't make them any less an accountant. But you also have some people who have passed the CPA exam who don't have any idea of accounting necessarily from a practical, day-to-day stance until they actually get into the profession of after they have passed their exam. Because there's some people who are attorneys who have CPAs or come from different industries where they actually got enough hours, took the test, passed the exam, and then they went and worked in the industry, or vice versa. A lot of times we can come out of college. I know because I have an accounting degree. We come out of college with no practical experience, but we pass the test. And then we get our on-the-job experience, right? Because sometimes it's a condition of employment for us to pass that CPA exam. Sometimes it's not. Depends on where you are and what industry or what firm you're in. Because in government, I was a government auditor, right? There was no requirement for us to have a CPA, even when I was doing financial statements, right? We had people who had CPA, but there was no requirement. But I did spend 5 to 6 years actually doing financial statement audits. I interned doing financial statement audits. So I understand financial statements. I also did performance audits for a big part of my career, but I also know how to follow the money trail, and I did contract audits. So I have a different vast experience than somebody else. That doesn't make them better. That doesn't make me better. That just means that our experience levels are different. But I've always loved tax, always. And my degree is in tax. My master's is in tax. My concentration for my MBA was taxation. I absolutely love tax. Like y'all see some books blurry in the background. I absolutely love tax. The tax code is awesome sauce to me. The rules is a beautiful marriage between math, accounting, and law. It's just awesome. It can be beneficial and shows you what you can do. I love tax. Let's just helping people with tax problems, tax planning. Like absolutely love the tax code. I truly, truly do. But we have to do it right, which is why I want to educate you all. We're gonna definitely not all things are going to be about tax this season as we get into recording a podcast on a regular. But I want y'all to be aware we're in the thick of tax season now. Like we're just getting ready to hit our stride. And so some of the questions that are coming up and the things that people are asking me, this is why I wanted to share it with you all. I wanted you all to really understand what is going on so that some of y'all are starting businesses now. Some of you are hesitant to start businesses because of this piece. Like you're like the accounting piece and the bookkeeper, I don't want to do it. But you have a great idea. You got a great product that you want to share with somebody. Go ahead and do it. Just make sure your stuff is in order. That's really all I want. Like, no, you don't have to work with me, but you want to make sure that your stuff is dressed right, dressed like they say in the military, so that if ever you don't have to get ready, you already ready. And you want to work with somebody who can help educate you in that stance. Be it your bookkeeper understanding how your records and books and transactions are being recorded, be it an accountant who actually understands and can give you CFO service, advisory services, and or a tax pro. And this could be the same person, but it could be 2 or 3 different people. You just need a team that can help you make sure that your numbers give you the information you need so that you can make decisions that are going to help you and you're not just feeling like you fly by night and out of control. That really is the concern, right? And so I want y'all to know that just because somebody say they're a bookkeeper doesn't automatically mean they understand tax. And just because somebody has the title of accountant or a CPA doesn't mean that they truly have looked at your books and understand everything that's going on there and understand tax. And just because somebody is a tax pro doesn't mean they understand the accountant side of the house. They may understand everything that's entitled to the law side to prepare the tax return. So all of these services are different and distinct. And I think at tax time, it's unfair for you to go to your tax pro and expect your tax pro to be able to answer and do all of these things for you at the whatever rate they're charging for tax prep. That's unfair to ask them to do so. Because they're different services, it's different techniques, it's different skill sets. That's what this ties to. It's different experiences, it's different levels of education and certification that belong to them. So that's what I wanted to bring to your attention this week. And just let you know that I am doing well. I didn't fall off. We not in the, like, I was literally sick and could not record last week. Either I was sick or I was dealing with sickness. And we're back. And I just wanted to share this with you all because that was my theme when I was feeling well last week and got to talk to clients. These are the things that they were bringing to my attention. And I figured if my clients or potential clients were on that thought process, that somebody else needed this information as well. So that's what we have for you for this week, quick and dirty. If you have any other questions, any other topics, anybody that you think we should interview, please share that with us so that we can have that and bring you the content that you kind of want, right? Instead of just kind of guessing or me using my current clientele as our guinea pig to figure out how to best serve you in this space. That's what I have for y'all. Another episode of Talks with the Tax Cop. Anybody who is watching the videos, y'all let me know how I fix my background. Give me some insight. Are y'all liking some of the changes that I'm making? I'm learning how to use cameras and software and things of that nature. Is all new for me. I'm excited to go on a journey. And that's what I got for y'all. Oh, by the way, before we leave, and I go into another day of working, let me share y'all my shirt. Y'all see this? Curls, kinks, coils, afros, twists, locks, and braids. Y'all go to winnieweston.com. It's my client. That's who has done this beautiful picture. Definitely get apparel. Get, she not sponsoring this, but get apparel, get prints. Come on, y'all. It's Black History Month. Y'all see she got the colors. Go on and support. winnieweston.com. WINNIEWESTON.com. See something, give something. It might not get there for Valentine's Day because it's dropping on Valentine's Day. If nobody else told you that you need to be a Valentine or you want to be a Valentine, know that you are loved by the Tax Cop. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Peace.